Back off, Libtards. It's only sarcasm.
Welcome, comrades, to Social Justice News Channel, the place for all things fair in a democratic socialist election. Today's show is not sponsored by anyone, but we definitely want to thank Ligma and Johnson for their hard work at Twitter. Our studio was built on stolen, ancient, alien lands. Let's get into the recent events occurring and the events surrounding the occurrences in the politics and other worldly events around the world. I wish there was a word that summed all that up. Our first story is that Joe Biden's AG meritless Garland, is creating a special counsel investigation of Donald Trump.
The Department of Justice has long recognized that in certain extraordinary cases, it is in the public interest to appoint a special prosecutor to independently manage an investigation and prosecution. Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
So you see, he is doing this special counsel just because Trump is running and will be against Biden, who is also running. It sounds like good reasoning for an investigation. He has appointed Jack Smith to head up this investigation. Jack Smith was previously the head of Obama Attorney General Eric Holder's Public Integrity Section. Smith charged Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, a potential Republican presidential candidate, with corruption charges. The Supreme Court later reversed the decision unanimously. This shows Garland knows how to pick people that can get the job done, regardless if they are properly following the law or not. After the FBI said that the documents at Mar-a-Lago were merely Trump keeping mementos and keepsakes, it is important now more than ever to find those missing nuclear launch codes. I only hope that Garland, doesn't forget about searching the parents fighting CRT at school board meetings, because chances of them having the nuclear codes are probably pretty high too. More aid is soon to go to Afghanistan. Afghan Supreme Leader orders full enforcement of Islamic law, including executions, stonings, and limb removal. When reached for comment, Joe Biden replied, "I'll be sending them a new aid package and more weapons very shortly." I'm glad to report he isn't going to let them be forgotten about. It is bad enough he left all those dangerous military weapons without instruction manuals and extra spare parts so that things like helicopters don't fall out of the sky and hurt anyone. Walt Disney Company recently hosted a cultural journey for employees featuring a two-spirit she-they drag queen Merperson named Geo Neptune. Underrepresented in the world due to fascist policies, making them nearly extinct. It may also have something to do with their scaly genitals, but we don't want to judge. We should recognize this category, and Disney regulars probably want a lot more of this, but they just don't know this radical gender exists. Look to our website, to our newly created petition to bring more recognition to these great fish people. They are brave enough to fight against right-wing oppression. Our next story is also about a struggle for equity, inclusion, and reparations. We turn to San Francisco, where they have agreed to a program to pay residents to receive money each month. The application for transgender San Francisco residents to receive guaranteed income has 97 gender options. This application for the transgender San Francisco residents includes many of the following: stud, queer, aromatic, asexual, BDSM, demisexual, gay, man of trans experience, transmasculine, genderqueer, gender fluid, neutrois, intergender, hijra, aliha, bisu, I don't use labels, declined, bakla. Lots of good things. This transgender universal basic income is a first look at future programs we hope are coming, but we couldn't help but notice some things missing. Apache helicopter is not on the list, as well as Merperson. They should apologize immediately and not be so transphobic to those that have alternative pronouns, or identities. Also, it appears this new program is location biased, and even though I'm in the Midwest, I call upon city leaders to be more inclusive of people nationwide, that they may be experiencing bigotry. I'm thinking of signing up for the program anyway, and writing in my alternate identifier of Apache helicopter. Our next story is about hair racism and the serious problem that it has become. Straight hair racism is a problem that needs to be addressed. Michelle Obama, was recently talking about how she was oppressed and not able to braid her naturally curly hair because the public wasn't ready for it. This kind of oppression of the First Lady shows how racist we are as a nation, and this is why CNN dedicated an entire day to fighting this kind of hair fascism.
It's like underneath my hair is braids. My hair is braided all the way back. Underneath this hair is my hair braided all the way back. And I've taken my hair, literally taken my hair off in the makeup room at work, because I work at a station as well. And you can see everyone look like, oh, wait, what's happening? It's almost as if like they're shocked, like it's disbelief. And then the whole, can I touch your hair if you're not black? So it's so draining, Poppy. I know you know what I'm saying, right? So in the sense that people ask to touch people. Yeah. And so I told Don no. I was terrified. Yeah. I was like,
we must remember that Trump has never come out and publicly stated that he is against this sort of hair racism. That says it all. Let's go to a quick public service announcement.
We now take you to a very important public service announcement.
It is now important to avoid saying, "Don't let the door hit ya where the good Lord split ya." Analysis by the Libtard Institute of Avoiding Hurt Feelings and Atheist Religious Persecution now tells us that this saying is effectively sexist against those that were born without a butt crack, or even those that don't identify as having a butt crack. These cracks, or splits as the slang term refers, are not for everyone and should not be used as a basis for identification. Extensive testing confirms that many people are hurt by mean comments, and this one is considered one of those overly abusive and extreme forms of bigotry. Instead, alternatives are now being considered. Some of the popular versions found to be safe in all environments are, "Comrade, don't let the door hit ya where the doctor changed your gender and did such a good job." Or even the other big favorite, "Careful, don't let the doors hit Z on Z's tender bits." Notice these also take out the reference to the good Lord, which prevents religious persecution of those you are talking to and refrains from pushing any religion. It is important to remember in today's times that persecution and hurt feelings are still everywhere, and there are far too few safe spaces. Please warn people and jest at people cautiously so as to not advance hate speech. Thank you. Welcome back. Justin Trudeau and Xi got into it at the G20 due to Justin talking about what he shouldn't have. He needs to respect Xi, a higher ranking official than him.
everything we discuss is then leaked to the paper, that's not appropriate.
而且我们也不是那样进行的。
And that's not how the way the conversation was
如
conducted.
果有诚心，咱们就用一种互相尊重的态度来进行很好的沟通。
If there is
否则这个结果就不好说了。
if
In
there is
Canada, we
sincerity
believe
on
in
your part,
free and open and frank dialogue, and that is what we will continue to have. We will continue to look to work constructively together, but there will be things we will disagree on, and we will have
有
to
些可以
continue.
签学生，但是
创造条件，创造条件。
Let's create the conditions first.
好。好。
Apparently, Justin doesn't know his place and know when to keep his mouth shut. China also asked that he quit doing blackface and making fun of other races, with the hopes that Justin would never do a Chinaman costume and makeup. Trudeau assured him that he knew that type of cultural appropriation was too much and it wouldn't happen. However, Justin reportedly reserved the right to sing Queen songs with a Chinese accent. These two world leaders were both at the G20 summit, where Biden was given clear instructions. We see in this photo he was given a sheet about where to sit and who to talk to. It was while Trudeau and Biden were there that they participated in a fashion show for charity. Minus 10% overall, of course. Welcome to the Red Carpet Fashion Show. On display this evening, we have New World Order designs from the Illuminati collection. Joe is wearing our fascist gray, made for fall and winter, while Justin is showing off our climate gilt green for any summer or fall event. Who wore it better, comrades? Who wore it better? Speaking of Joe and Justin possibly on a date, recently there was a report by the New York Post by Jana Hawking. Straight men are using dating apps to hook up with other men. This is a great idea, and yet people are throwing around the gay word as if a hookup like this has to be homosexual. It completely ignores what is most important, and that is how these men identify. If you don't memorize every person's pronouns, gender definition, and sexual orientation, then you are a bigot. Assumptions make an ass out of you and umptions. The FTX cryptocurrency scandal is just ramping up and reportedly was used to finance Democratic candidates in the U.S. through a money laundering scheme.
Folks, today we've got to take a step back and look at everything involving the FTX heist, because that's what this was. This was a heist not only of the users' donations, of the users' deposits, but also a heist potentially involving all the way up to and including the DNC and potentially intelligence services.
It reportedly involved Ukrainian taxpayer aid money being invested in FTX before the founder and CEO, Sam Bankman Fried, then donated personal cash to the DNC and Democrats. He was embezzling the money to the tune of billions, and yet only gave millions to Democrats. Yet we were supposed to believe that this was the Democrats' plan. Another right-wing conspiracy. Sam Bankman Fried was the second largest donor behind George Soros, and yet has not been extradited or detained by the FBI, proving that he has done nothing wrong. Let's hear from Representative Sheila Jackson Lee.
Stands on the basis of facts. There is no doubt that we have been impacted. That DNA in the trajectory of slavery to today. For example, at COVID, black African Americans got COVID at a rate nearly 1.5 times higher than that of white people, or hospitalized at a rate nearly 4 times higher and 3 times likely to die. COVID hit us very desperately. Interestingly, a recent peer-reviewed study from Harvard Medical School suggests that reparations for African Americans could have cut COVID-19 transmission and infection rates both among blacks and the population at large. Reparations are curative. They're not punishment. The analysis continued to look at data throughout the nation.
We let so many people down with what they are owed. COVID was racist, and maybe when Biden wins again in 2024, he can give enough of our money away to make things right with all people. It will just get more and more expensive as time goes on unless we do something about it right now. Biden does continue to think about the importance of law enforcement. Hidden deep in Biden's infrastructure package was a provision requiring all cars built after 2026 to have a vehicle kill switch that is remotely accessible. This would allow a police officer or other government authorities to access it whenever they needed, thereby ending a vehicle chase easily. No longer would anyone be able to escape the long arm of the law or the government. Nothing says freedom like having to worry about vehicle chases. We know since it is the government's program that these devices will be completely unhackable, and I feel safer already. Biden is still keeping the COVID public health emergency on the table. The Democrat-led Senate just recently voted to remove the public health emergency declaration, but Biden is threatening to veto it as he knows best. Despite assuring people that it is over in recent statements, he knows it's not and just wanted to make people feel safer. With vetoes like this, he will actually be keeping us safer instead of feeling safer. He is doing everything right. Reports are that we just need 2 more weeks to flatten the curve, and we will be fine. I think expediting the international COVID passports and underskin tracking chips would help, but those are still being developed. This is it for the bullshit, the news this week. Make sure you tune in next time when we discuss why international COVID passports are more important now than ever. Now we turn you over to Karen on Twitter for the really important news. I think you better get it quick because I hear that Twitter is about to crash and may never work again. Elon doesn't know what he is doing and should stick to the easy stuff like rocket science and not mess with important things like social media. Anyways, have a good evening, comrades. Subscribe and hit the like on our show, and we guarantee that Joe Biden will pay off your student loans next election cycle.